The village of Naani. In the heart of Africa, nestled between rolling hills and vast savannas, lay the village of Naani. The villagers lived harmoniously, deeply rooted in traditions passed down through generations. Naani was known for its vibrant culture, evident in the colorful kitenge and kente cloths worn by the villagers, the rhythmic beats of the drums that echoed through the nights, and the intricate beadwork that adorned their bodies. At the center of the village stood a grand baobab tree, considered sacred and the heart of Naani. The villagers believed the tree was the dwelling place of their ancestor spirits. A meeting by the river. Amoni, a young and spirited woman, was the daughter of the village chief, Chief Jabori. Her beauty was matched only by her intelligence and kindness. One day, while fetching water from the river, she met Kofi, a humble and hardworking farmer from a neighboring village. Their eyes met, and an unspoken bond formed between them. Amoni was captivated by Kofi's warmth and sincerity. As they exchanged pleasantries, Amoni noticed the intricacies of Kofi's traditional agboda, reflecting his heritage and the pride he took in his culture. Growing feelings. Over the next few weeks, Amoni and Kofi's paths crossed frequently. They shared stories of their lives, dreams, and aspirations under the shade of the baobab tree. Despite their growing affection, they were acutely aware of the boundaries set by their families and traditions. Amoni's father, Chief Jabari, had already arranged for her to marry a wealthy suitor from a distant land. This arrangement was seen as a strategic alliance to strengthen the village's prosperity and influence. Whispers in the village. As Amoni and Kofi's relationship blossomed, whispers began to spread through the village. Elders and villagers alike disapproved of their growing bond, viewing it as a threat to the traditions that held Naani together. Chief Jabori, known for his strict adherence to cultural norms, summoned Amoni to confront her about the rumors. Dressed in his regal dashiki, adorned with symbols of power and authority, his stern expression reflected the gravity of the situation. Amoni, in her kitenge dress, stood nervously before him, her heart pounding in her chest. A secret meeting. Despite the warnings, Amoni and Kofi continued to meet in secret. They devised plans to see each other without arousing suspicion. One night, under the full moon, they met by the river, away from prying eyes. The riverbank was their sanctuary, where they could express their love freely. Kofi presented Amoni with a beaded necklace, a symbol of his commitment. Amoni's eyes filled with tears of joy as she accepted the gift, knowing full well the challenges they faced. Family expectations. Chief Jabari grew increasingly suspicious of Amoni's behavior. He was determined to uphold the family's honor and the village's traditions. He reminded Amoni of her duty to marry the wealthy suitor, emphasizing the benefits this alliance would bring to Naani. Amoni's heart ached at the thought of betraying her father's wishes, but her love for Kofi was undeniable. Torn between love and duty, Amoni sought counsel from her mother, who understood her plight but urged her to consider the greater good. The Council of Elders. The whispers in the village reached the ears of the Council of Elders. They convened to discuss the situation, concerned about the potential disruption to the social order. The council was comprised of wise and respected figures, each adorned in traditional attire, their faces etched with the wisdom of ages. They decided to summon both families to address the matter formally, hoping to find a resolution that would honor their traditions and preserve the village's harmony. The summoning. Amoni and Kofi were summoned to appear before the Council of Elders. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on them as they walked through the village, villagers casting judgmental glances. Dressed in their finest traditional attire, they stood before the council, their hearts pounding. The elders, with their wise and stern gazes, questioned the young couple about their intentions and the future they envisioned together. Amoni and Kofi spoke passionately about their love, but the elders were unmoved, emphasizing the importance of tradition and the potential consequences of their union. The story continues to explore the challenges and growth Harmony and Kofi face as they navigate the complexities of love, tradition, and societal expectations. As Harmony and Kofi stood before the Council of Elders, the tension in the air was palpable. Elder Zubri, the most respected and feared elder, rose to speak. His voice, though calm, carried the weight of tradition and authority. Harmony, Kofi, you have been brought before us to explain yourselves, he began. The bonds of love are sacred, but so are the bonds of tradition. Our village has strived for generations by adhering to the ways of our ancestors. What you are doing threatens the very fabric of our society. Harmony, her eyes brimming with tears, spoke first. Elder Zubri, our love is genuine. We do not seek to defy tradition, but to find a place for our love within it. We believe that love can coexist with the values we hold dear. Kofi nodded in agreement. We understand the importance of tradition, but we also believe in the power of love to bring people together. We ask for your understanding and blessing. Elder Zubri's gaze softened slightly, but he remained firm. Love is powerful, but it must be tempered with wisdom. We will deliberate on this matter and give you our decision in due course. Until then, you must cease all contact with each other. As they left the council chamber, Harmony and Kofi felt the weight of the elders' decision looming over them. They knew their love would face even greater challenges in the days to come, deciding their fate. The Council of Elders met in private to discuss the fate of Harmony and Kofi. The room was filled with the aroma of burning incense, and the elders sat on intricately woven mats, their faces etched with concern. They debated for hours, weighing the importance of tradition against the sincerity of the young couple's love. Elder Nia, known for her compassion and wisdom, spoke up. We cannot ignore the love they share. Perhaps it is time to consider that our traditions must evolve to accommodate the changing times. Love is a powerful force that can unite us. Elder Zubri, though firm in his adherence to tradition, listened thoughtfully. Change is inevitable, but it must be approached with caution. We must ensure that any decision we make does not undermine the very foundations of our society. The elders continued their deliberations late into the night. Finally, a consensus was reached. Elder Zubri would deliver their decision to the village the next day. Families at odds. The news of the council's decision reached the families of Harmony and Kofi. Chief Jabari was furious. He stormed into his home, his anger palpable. Harmony's mother, Imoni, tried to calm him, but to no avail. This is an affront to our honor. Chief Jabari thundered. Our daughter is promised to another, and this farmer dares to defy our traditions. Imoni, her face serene, placed a hand on his arm. Jabari, we must consider Harmony's happiness. She loves Kofi, and we should support her in finding a way to honor both her heart and our traditions. Meanwhile, in Kofi's village, his family was also in turmoil. His father, Adisa, a respected farmer, was torn between his son's happiness and the need to uphold tradition. Kofi, you must understand the gravity of this situation. Our actions reflect on our entire community. Kofi stood firm. Father, I love Harmony, and I believe that our love can bring our villages together. We must find a way to bridge the gap between love and tradition. Traditional ceremonies. The village of Naani was preparing for the annual Festival of Ancestry, a time-honored celebration where the villagers paid homage to their ancestors and reaffirmed their commitment to tradition. The air was filled with excitement as preparations were made, colorful kitenge and kent cloths were laid out, traditional drums were tuned, and offerings were prepared. Harmony, dressed in a stunning kitenge dress adorned with beads, felt the weight of the occasion. This festival was a reminder of the traditions that bound her, and she felt torn between her duty and her love for Kofi. As she helped her mother with the preparations, she couldn't help but think of Kofi and what the future held for them. Kofi, too, was deeply affected by the festival. He watched as the villagers gathered to honor their ancestors, feeling a deep sense of connection to his heritage. Yet, his thoughts kept drifting to Harmony and the love they shared. He knew that the path they had chosen would not be easy, but he was determined to find a way for their love to endure. Forbidden love blossoms. Despite the council's decree, Harmony and Kofi could not stay away from each other. Their love, like a flame, grew stronger with each passing day. They met in secret, away from the watchful eyes of the villagers, finding solace in each other's company. They would meet in the dense forest that bordered their villages, where the trees provided cover and the sound of the river offered a sense of tranquility. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned a brilliant shade of orange, they sat by the river, holding hands. "Harmony, I believe that our love can change the world," Kofi said, his voice filled with conviction. "We must find a way to show our families and our villages that love and tradition can coexist." Harmony nodded, her heart swelling with love for Kofi. "Together, we can overcome any obstacle. Our love is strong enough to withstand anything." They knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were determined to face them together, their love a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. Ancestral warnings. One night, Harmony had a vivid dream. She found herself standing before the grand baobab tree, its ancient branches stretching out like protective arms. From the shadows emerged the spirits of her ancestors, their faces stern but wise. They spoke to her in a language of symbols and images, conveying a message of caution and guidance. "Harmony," the voice of her great-grandmother whispered, "love is a powerful force, but it must be tempered with wisdom. You must find a way to honor your heart without forsaking your heritage. The path you choose will shape not only your future but the future of our village." Harmony awoke with a start, the words of her ancestors echoing in her mind. She knew she needed to heed their warning and find a balance between her love for Kofi and her duty to her family and traditions. A plan to escape. Harmony and Kofi knew they needed to act decisively if they were to be together. They devised a plan to escape the watchful eyes of their families and the village. They would live under the cover of night, traveling to a distant land where they could build a life together free from the constraints of tradition. They gathered supplies and made preparations, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they were leaving behind everything they had ever known. Harmony wrote a heartfelt letter to her parents, explaining her decision and expressing her hope that they would one day understand her choice. On the night of their planned escape, the moon shone brightly, casting an ethereal glow over the village. Harmony and Kofi met at their secret spot by the river, ready to embark on their journey together. As they set out into the night, their hearts were filled with hope and determination. Just as Harmony and Kofi were about to leave, they were discovered by Harmony's younger brother, Tond. He had followed Harmony, suspicious of her secretive behavior. Tond's eyes widened in shock as he saw them preparing to flee. "Harmony, what are you doing?" he whispered urgently. Harmony's heart sank. "Tond, please, you must understand. We love each other and want to be together. We can't stay here and live apart." Tond looked on. He loved his sister and wanted her to be happy, but he also felt the weight of their family's expectations. "If you leave, it will break our parents' hearts. There must be another way." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of footsteps. Chief Jabari, alerted by Tond's absence, had come searching for him. Seeing his daughter with Kofi, his face contorted with anger. "Harmony, how dare you defy me?" he roared. "And you, Kofi, you have dishonored our family." Harmony and Kofi stood frozen, their dreams of escaping shattered. They knew that the consequences of their actions would be severe. To continue, watch out for part 2. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments, like, and subscribe for more. Thanks.